Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 2nd of September and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video we are going to discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu. And guys, I would like to tell you that meanwhile you can download this explainer PDF. Okay, so this explainer PDF you can download from the Telegram channel and you can follow this particular PDF along with the video, and you can add these PDF in your notes also. Now, before starting up, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper to understand that which articles are important for our examination. So guys, here we have the page number 1 and of the Delhi edition of the Hindu newspaper. So first article talks about that GST revenues have crossed 1.4 lakh crore rupees mark again. So guys, in the past couple of months, GST collections have been increasing and it is a positive sign in the economic growth. Fine. So this is a kind of a good thing. However, you don't need to go and see the every month GST collection, that okay, how many thousand crore rupees increase, all these kind of things have been there. Then moving on, after that, Teesta custody, okay, Jharkhand leaders meet governor. Fine, the articles are not very much important with respect to the UPSC examination. IMF to extend $2.9 billion to Sri Lanka. So guys, understand this particular thing, that now as the Sri Lankan economic crisis is going on, Sri Lanka has approached the IMF and IMF is under its extended fund facility is providing the help to the Sri Lanka. Then moving on, in the city section, regional news, etc., advertisements and all these things have been given, not important for the UPSC examination. Then these tenders and all these pages are not important. Then guys, moving on, the Metro Plus page, okay, it contains the lifestyle and all such kind of things. So directly we'll be reaching to the editorial page. On the editorial, the first article is talking about academia, research and glass ceiling. Good article with respect to the women related issues. We'll see this article. Then the big picture takeaway from China's Taiwan drills. We'll see this particular article briefly. Then guys, slow improvement. Now this particular article is talking about that though there is improvement as GST collections are improving, GDP estimates are good, so but there are still some challenges in Indian economy. We'll see all those particular things in this particular article. Then a revert to the mean. So guys, this particular article talks about recently the National Crime Record Bureau NCRB's report that was released with respect to the crimes in India. We have already seen this particular article just a couple of days back, that the crimes are now again to the pre-pandemic level. So basically it is talking about that how much crime, okay, that's that how much crime has been increased in different categories. Okay, now see these microscopic data, that the suicides increased by this many percentage, murders increased by this many percentage, last year these 1000 cases were there, now these many number cases have been increased. Such things are not important for your UPSC examination, and already we have covered this particular topic also in just a couple of days back. Then, can civil servants express their views on law governance? Now this is an important article with respect to the role of the civil servants in GS2, GS4. Then moving on, the text and the context affecting the ban on the single-use plastics. We'll see this particular article. Then guys, why the Supreme Court has relaxed the ban on iron ore mining in Karnataka. We'll see this article. Then P.A. Ranjit, the game changer of Tamil cinema. Now article is not important for the UPSC examination. Then Modi Z way meeting as chill remains in ties. So guys, basically maybe in September or maybe after that there could be the meeting between the Mr. Modi, the Indian Prime Minister, and the Xi Jinping. Okay, but guys, still there are many of the conflicts that are there between the India-China relations, and the conflicts are majorly around the LAC. So guys, the China again China says this particular thing, that disputes on LAC are different and the normal diplomatic relations are different. So India should start the diplomatic, basically India should resume the normal ties with the China. But India says that no, border, economy and the diplomatic relations will go hand in hand. If there will be the dispute onto the boundary, China cannot expect the normal relations. Okay, so this is something that is going on. After that, Supreme Court seeks information on attack on Christians. Okay, then Vostok 2022, we'll see this particular article what it is all about. Okay, then guys, moving on, after that transparency debate in Congress, okay, and all these particular things not important for your UPSC examination. Then UGC proposes cluster of colleges. We'll see this particular article with respect to the NEP. Then guys, moving on, after that, UN accuses China of Uyghur right abuses. So we'll see this particular article. Then in the world page, other basically regional issues, etc., evolutionary details are there, not very much important for your exam. Then coming to the business page. So August auto wholesale witness growth ahead of the festival season. So basically guys, see these trends, for example the automobile growth in India. Okay, then after that the SBI cuts financial year 20 growth forecast. Okay, now these particular things are basically very much evolutionary kind of a data. It means that it is going to change with every coming week, every coming month. Moreover, the automobile sales, Sensex, whether Sensex is going up or going down, corporate performance are not important for our examination. For example, here basically forgings, fine, all these things have been discussed. So these corporate trends etc are not important for the examination. Okay, you just need to see the academic issues. For example, why is there something in Indian economy as why the stock market is doing good or why the stock market is doing bad. So that academic issue is something that you need to see more. Fine, then moving on. However, an article on Indian economy we are going to take anyhow today in the editorial section also. So that is all guys about that. And then we have the sports page. Okay, the cricket related news etc has been given. Now let's discuss all these relevant articles one by one in the detail. Now starting up, so guys, first we'll be taking the GS quotation. So today we'll take the quote from the Thomas Paine. So Thomas Paine says that whatever is my right as a man is also the right of another, and it becomes my duty as well as it becomes my duty to guarantee as well as to possess. So it has been provided that guys, often what happens, we are very much concerned on our own rights. We are very much centered and fixated on our own rights, and we don't respect the similar right of other people. For example, the freedom of speech and expression. When your freedom of speech and expression is concerned, you are very much considerate about that, but other people's freedom of speech and expression is not respected. So therefore, as a citizen in a democracy, a person and a citizen has twofold responsibilities. Responsibility number one, that one should possess their own right, but one should also respect and protect the other's right also. So Thomas Paine says that it is my duty to guarantee my right, okay, as well as it is my duty to possess my right as well as to guarantee the right of the other people. So this is only the cordial relation that is needed, and only on that particular basis everybody can enjoy the rights. Clear? Now guys, understand this particular thing. This particular idea also talks about the realization of duty. My duty to respect others' right. And guys, the duty are very much important in democracy. Even the Mahatma Gandhi ji said that if everybody will be concerned about their rights, everybody's rights and nobody's duty will mean nobody's right. Fine. So that's all about this particular idea. You can use it in GS paper number 4 ethics. GS paper number 4 ethics in the topic of values. Now moving on, and let's take the first article. Effecting the ban on single-use plastics. Okay, so guys, this particular article has been taken from the text and the context, and this article will be important for GS paper number 3, issues related to the environment and ecology. Issues related to the environment and ecology. Now guys, understand this particular thing. First of all, we'll be discussing the background of this particular article, and after understanding the background, we'll go in this particular article as what this article is talking about. Now understand this particular thing guys, that India has always been at the forefront of environmental movements, and in that particular capacity, basically in 2019 what happened, India participated in the United Nations Environment Assembly. That was the fourth United Nations Environment Assembly, and in this particular platform India proposed in 2019 then all the world countries need to come together, and the world countries need to fight the plastic pollution, because the plastic pollution is the most notorious kind of a pollution. Majority of the plastics, particularly the single-use plastics that we are using, it ends up into the oceans and it disturbs the marine ecology, marine environment there. Moreover guys, there is also one very big problem associated with the plastic, that is the microplastic problem. Now what is this microplastic problem guys? For example, any plastic item, when it basically, for example, let's say it enters into the ocean, into the water, then it will be broken down in very, very tiny fragments, and those tiny fragments, those microplastics will be consumed by the fishes, then those fishes will be consumed by the humans, and what happens, the plastic actually is ending in the food chain, it is ending into the food cycle, it is ending into the human's body. Recently, actually in 2021, there was a study that was conducted, and it was found that even now the microplastics are being found into the blood streams of the humans. So microplastics and the single-use plastics and plastic anyhow is a very big problem, and it is not easily basically this particular plastic, fine, it is creating so much of the problems. So therefore guys, in order to bring this particular things under the control, we proposed the ban onto the single-use plastics in the United Nations Environment Assembly in 2019. Now guys, in this particular direction, what has happened, India already came out with the plastic waste management rules. Plastic waste management rules. Now guys, recently the plastic waste management rules 2022 has been notified, and as per these plastic waste management rules, India had banned the single use plastics from the 1st July. India has banned the single-use plastics from the 1st July. Understand this particular thing, guys, that as we talk about the ban on the single-use plastics, what are first of all the single-use plastics? Single-use plastics are your plastic carrying bags, plastic birds, fine, which you use to clean your ears, stirrer, straws. So all these single-use plastics have been banned. Moreover, guys, when we talk about the plastic packaging materials, fine, now there is that the case that is there is that you have to use the plastic packaging material only which is above the 75 micron. Earlier the limit was 50 micron, and now it has been increased to 75 micron. First of all, understand that why only beyond 75 micron thickness plastic is to be used, because guys, when you are going to manufacture 75 micron beyond plastic, it is expensive, and by that particular thing the consumption of plastic will be reduced. Okay, moreover guys, when we talk about in India, the waste collectors, the rag pickers, they are belonging to the informal sector, unorganized sector, and when they are in unorganized sector, many a times they don't have incentive to collect the plastic if it is very much thin, if it is of a very low quality, if it is a very inferior quality. However, when this particular regulation has come that the packaging materials and all the plastics need to be beyond at least 75 microns, it will give incentive to the waste collectors also to collect such plastics. Now guys, further understand one more thing is that in the direction of the carrying bags and plastic materials and all these kind of a thing, it has been provided that after December this 75 micron will also be increased. This 75 micron will be increased, and the plastic carry bags need to be at least 120 microns thick. Okay, so actually what we are doing, we are banning the single use plastics in phase by phase manner. First of all, immediately the single use plastic items, decoration items, plastic cutlery, etc. has been banned, and now in the carrying bags we have increased the limit to 75 microns. It will be increased then to 120 microns by December 2022. So by this particular way, the single use plastics in India are being controlled. Now guys, understand this particular thing that when we talk about the plastics, India is not the first country which has banned the single use plastics. In this particular capacity, we have the example of Bangladesh. Now Bangladesh was actually the first country to ban the thin plastic bags in 2002, and after the Bangladesh, the New Zealand banned the plastic bags in 2019, then China banned the plastic bags in 2020, and now in 2022 we have banned the single use plastics. India is one of the biggest consumer of the single use plastic bags. Therefore India is going to play a very lead role in this particular direction. Now guys, understand this particular thing that when we talk about the plastic, I have already told you the harmful effects that it impacts the environment, human health, ecology. It also leads to a problem because in the landfills, when the plastic is being dumped, it doesn't get decomposed for hundreds and sometimes thousands of years. It stays into the landfills. Now guys, what are the steps that have been taken by the government? So here I am going to tell you the steps that have been taken by the government to effectively enforce this particular ban. So guys, multiple things have been done, and you can guys note down these particular points directly in your notebooks or can download this particular PDF. Number one, government is trying to create an ecosystem for adoption and availability of the alternatives. Now guys, the alternatives, for example, alternative of a plastic bag could be a cloth bag, it could be a cotton bag, or it could be a bag created by some other biodegradable resource. Even guys, when the paper bags are being adopted, many times the paper is coming from the trees. That is also not environmentally sustainable. So what could be other alternatives? So government is trying to create ecosystem. Government is trying to identify such alternatives. Number one. Number two, guys, what is happening? Government is also establishing the control rooms at the level of the center as well as at the level of states. These control rooms will make sure that nobody is violating the plastic ban that has been imposed. Then guys, thirdly, there will be the special enforcement teams who will check the illegal sale and of the single-use plastics. So specific teams will be formed. They will be going for the surprise inspections, and they will be going for the supervision that they are not being used. Then guys, after that particular thing, understand many a times the plastic packaging, plastic bags, etc. are being transported from one state to another state. In order to curb that particular thing, the border checkpoints have also been established so that such movement of the plastic bag cannot happen. Then guys, fifthly, what has happened? Central Pollution Control Board has also created a grievance redressal application. Clear, this grievance redressal application has been provided. For example, if you find that still the plastic is being used, there is a plastic pollution that is there, this grievance redressal application can be used, the complaints can be raised, and all these things are there. Moreover guys, at the same time, government is bringing all the stakeholders together. For example, the entrepreneurs, those who can bring some alternatives for the plastic. So entrepreneurs, startups, industry, central government, state government, local government, regulatory bodies, experts, citizens organization, fine, research and development institutions, all are being brought together so that they can come out with the sustainable solutions. They can increase the awareness in the citizens. Clear, this is the issue, that these are the 5 steps that have been taken by the government. Is it clear or not? Now guys, see these things, these 5 steps need to be readily in your mind if a question is coming. Then actually there are certain problems also which will come to implement this particular ban. What will be the problems? Problem number 1 that will be there guys, see, when you see these single use plastic bags which are less than 75 microns, plastic birds, plastic straws, all these things, these are the non-branded items, and because they are the non-branded items, there is no information as who is manufacturing them. So basically, even if some single use plastics which is less than 75 microns or these straws etc are found, then it is difficult to identify the manufacturer, and accountability for selling is difficult to fix. One problem. Then second problem that comes here is that actually the alternatives to plastic, either they are not available, alternative to plastics are either not available, or if they are available, they are very much expensive. Because guys, let's say when we talk about a plastic bag, it might be costing around 1 rupee or even less, but a cloth bag of same size might be costing very much higher. So it becomes very much unsustainable for the shopkeepers to give that particular thing. Okay, so that is something which becomes a problem. So guys, all are these issues in this particular direction. And first of all, before going in this article, this background and understanding that which type of plastic bags have been banned, which have not been banned, it is very much important for a UPSC aspirant. So right now, above 75 microns are allowed, and after December, above 120 microns will only be allowed. So that is all about this. And now we'll move to the next article. Now, why has the Supreme Court relaxed the ban on iron ore mining in Karnataka? This particular article again will see with respect to the GS paper number 3, environment ecology. Now guys, this particular similar issue has been taken in our newspaper analysis few days back also, because this particular article came in the regional section also. I have taken it up. Now let's discuss this particular article. So basically guys, we have seen this particular thing, that there is always a debate. Now there is always a debate between the environment and economy. Now if you focus more on the environment, the economy will be compromised. Why? Because guys, if you focus on environment, you will not be able to give clearance to the mining projects, you will not be able to develop infrastructure projects into the forested areas. For example, in order to take care of the environment, coal-fired power plant are needed to be minimized, and all these particular things are going to impact the Indian economy. However, at the same time, if you focus more on economy, how you can focus on economy? By extracting more minerals, by building more infrastructure, by building more industries, okay, by developing cheap power, and in the India, cheap power comes from the coal. So if you focus on economy, then the environment will get compromised. So guys, always there is a debate between the environment and ecology, and in that capacity, if I tell you, in 2020, the Madras High Court ruled in the case of the Sterlite copper plant. It ruled in the case of the Sterlite copper plant that when the environment and ecology are pitted together, environment and economy are pitted together, always the environment is to be given a kind of a preference. So this was the ruling of Madras High Court in the Sterlite copper plant. Now this thing is not provided in this particular article, but guys, such kind of judgments, etc., landmark rulings, you need to be having an idea in your mind. Okay, such remembrance need to be there. Now coming back, now guys, this particular article is an example where the Supreme Court has favored economy. Supreme Court has favored more economy, and Supreme Court had said that we need to focus that how economy and environment can go together, and economy cannot always be compromised. First of all, let's see that what has happened in this particular case. So basically guys, the Supreme Court has recently increased the ceiling limit, the maximum iron ore that can be extracted from the mines of Bellary, Chitradurg and Tumkur. Now guys, understand, for your prelims point of view also, prelims examination, these three regions, that is the Bellary mines, Chitradurg mines and the Tumkur mines are the very important iron ore mines in India and the most important in Karnataka. So their iron ore extraction has been increased. Earlier it was 28 MMT, that is 28 million metric ton. Now it increased to 35. Now these numbers are not very much important. Now what the Supreme Court has said here, that's important. Supreme Court said that the conservation of ecology and environment must go hand in hand with the spirit of economic development. You cannot ignore the economic development, because at the end of the day, only by economic development the poverty will be removed, per capita income will be increased, GDP will be increased, and at the end of the day, if the GDP will be increased, everybody will get benefit out of that. So we cannot ignore the economy just for the sake of environment. This is something that has been provided. Now guys, understand this particular thing. There is a little bit history behind this particular issue also. Basically, though we will not be going in this particular thing in much debate, but it has been provided in this particular article, but not important for your UPSC examination. Fine. So basically guys, it has been provided that when we talk about the Karnataka's mining industry, it is strongly linked with the notorious Reddy brothers of Bellary. Now the Reddy brothers of Bellary have basically carried the extensive illegal mining in the Karnataka, and even the government officials, even ministers have been involved with the Reddy brothers, and a lot of mineral extraction they have done, and in that capacity they had not paid any royalties, so the exchequer got impacted, environment got impacted. Is it clear or not? So basically, in order to curb that particular illegal mining and in order to curb this nexus of the Reddy brothers, what happened? Way back in 2011-12, the Supreme Court appointed the Central Empowered Committee. The Supreme Court appointed the Central Empowered Committee, and this Central Empowered Committee provided that how much violations have happened into the Karnataka for the illegal mining, and therefore in 2011, to stop the illegal mining operations into the Bellary, what happened? The Supreme Court banned the export of iron ore pellets. These are the small chunks, so iron ore pellets from Karnataka. Fine. As well as it further reduced the iron ore extraction that can be done, and provided that for the sake of environment we cannot allow the endless iron ore extraction. So iron ore extraction was reduced. Fine. Then the export of the iron pellets from the Karnataka, it was minimized. All these particular things happened. A ban was imposed in 2011. So we find that in 2011 the Supreme Court favored more environment. But now in 2022, a kind of a U-turn has been taken by the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court has actually revised its 2011 judgment and had now approved the higher extraction, and now says that economy is also to be focused upon. Clear? Now guys, understand this particular thing. Into the past, in 2011, when the ban was imposed, the Supreme Court also directed that the Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education needs to come out with a plan that how the environmental degradation that has happened in the past, that happened before 2011, can be reversed. And this ICFRE, that is the Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education, was given a specific purpose for the reclamation, rehabilitation of the environment, and now it is being said that they have been successful, and therefore now we can again allow the higher level of mining. Moreover guys, understand this particular thing, that as I told you that iron ore pellets from the Karnataka were banned, they cannot be exported. So basically the steel industry in India became too much dependent on the Chinese exporters, and by that particular thing, many times this issue also happened that there was a shortage of the raw material with the iron and steel industry. So in order to deal with that problem also, in order to deal with the shortage into the iron ore and the steel industry in India, this particular step has been made. So these are guys all the issues in this particular direction. I hope that you have understood it, and guys, keep this particular thing in your mind, that there are some very important issues in India. On that, you need to have always certain Supreme Court judgments in your mind. For example, whether right to protest is a fundamental right or not. Okay, with respect to the right to privacy, with respect to the freedom of speech and expression, you getting it or not? And all these things you need to have certain judgments. Now moving on. UGC proposes clustering of colleges. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2 issues related to education. GS paper number 2 issues related to education. Now guys, understand this particular thing. Before going in this particular article, I would like to give you some of background information. Now, first of all, what happened, guys, when we talk about the education in India, government always has focused on the value based education, which can build the character as well as which can build the critical skills in the students. In that capacity, for the first time, government came with the new education policy of 1968. Then we came with the second education policy, that is the national education policy of 1986. It got amended in 1992, and now presently we have the third national education policy, NEP 2020. Now guys, in the NEP 2020, it was suggested. Now first of all, understand some basic things. In NEP 2020, the reforms were suggested at the two levels. Reform for the school education was suggested, and reform for the higher educational institutes were suggested. And by the way, if you want to know about the entire features of the new education policy 2020, you can check out our channel. In the channel, I had made a detailed video discussing all the provisions of NEP 2020 also. So if you want, you can watch that video also. So in the NEP 2020, with respect to the higher educational institution, one suggestion was given. The suggestion was given was that we need to have the multidisciplinary educational institutions. Now first of all, understand that what are these multidisciplinary educational institutions. Now guys, you might be having in your region or elsewhere, you might have seen that there are colleges, there are the universities which specialize only in one or two kind of things. For example, there is engineering college. In that, only engineering subjects, engineering streams are being delivered. Then there are the colleges for humanities. In that, only humanities subject are being taught. The degrees in humanities are only being given. So for example, you have engineering colleges, you have colleges for humanities, you have colleges for medical profession, you have colleges and university for legal profession. So they all are existing isolatedly. Now the multidisciplinary educational institution means that within one university or within one college, all these things need to be provided under the same roof, under a kind of a same premises. So under a same campus, there needs to be medical institutes, there needs to be the engineering, there needs to be the humanities, there needs to be the legal education. So these were the multidisciplinary educational institutions that were suggested in the NEP 2020. Clear? Now guys, in order to fulfill this particular objective, what has happened, UGC have come out with some kind of recommendations. UGC had come out with a kind of a notification. Now what the UGC has come out with? First of all guys, UGC stands for the University Grants Commission. It controls the it provides the grants, fundings, as well as it also regulates the higher education right now in India. Basically, that is the thing. Now, basically what has provided, the UGC has finalized the guidelines for transforming the colleges and universities into multidisciplinary institutes. Now they have suggested that clustering of the institutes needs to be done, which are established into the close proximity of each other. Okay, now guys, understand this particular thing. Suppose there is a particular region. In this particular region, let's say there is one college, this is a medical college. Then the another college, it is an engineering college. Then there is another third college. This particular college deals with the humanities. It is giving the degrees in BCom, BA, etc. So this is the college for the humanities. So now they are working isolated. Now what UGC has suggested is that all these three institutions can be clusterized. And they will be operating as a multidisciplinary education educational institution. So what you are going to do in the basically the colleges or the universities, again the colleges or the universities that are in the close vicinity, they are near to each other and they are providing the separate courses, they are providing the separate types of education, they will be clusterized so that they in itself can act as a cluster, it can act as a multidisciplinary educational institution. It has been provided. Now guys, how this particular cluster is going to help? So basically it has been said that such cluster will help the single stream institutions with poor enrollment. Now understand this particular thing. Suppose there is this particular college of humanities, this college of engineering, this college of in the medical sciences. So basically some of the colleges have a poor enrollment. Okay, particularly this is not the condition in engineering and medical, but in the humanities, in the legal education, the poor enrollment is there. Because of that particular thing, the college is not actually viable. So by this particular thing, what happened, when they will be pooled together, they will be able to have a bigger pool of the students, and by that particular thing, their financial resources will be augmented, and in that particular capacity, they can improve their conditions. Moreover, guys, understand this particular thing, that there is in India, we rank the colleges and universities, higher educational institutions are ranked, and there is National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC. NAAC. So NAAC gives a ranking to the universities and colleges, for example, A plus ranking, A ranking. Okay, so the rankings have been given. Now understand this particular thing, guys. Let's say this college is working in isolation, this college is working in isolation. They have very limited resources in terms of faculty, resources in terms of land, resources in other arenas. Now if all of them come together, what will happen? They can pool up all their resources together, can enhance the faculty ratio, can enhance the other physical infrastructure requirement, and by that particular thing, even they can improve their ranking in the NAAC, that is the National Assessment, and Accreditation Council ranking. For example, the A colleges can become A plus colleges. Okay, so this is something that can be done. It is going to be a very win-win kind of a situation. Now guys, it has been provided that the member college in a cluster, for example, we have said that this is a cluster, so within a cluster, a member college. Okay, so the member college in a cluster will continue to function as an affiliated college under the university. So for example, let's say, guys, that originally, now the colleges, they are affiliated under one particular university. For example, this particular college was affiliated under the University of Delhi. Let's say this college was affiliated under the University of Delhi. Let's say this particular college was instituted and was affiliated under, let's say, the Kurukshetra University. Now what will happen, for a brief period of time, suppose this college was under Delhi University, this college was under Kurukshetra University, and let's say this college was also under some XYZ university. So initially they will work under their own affiliated universities only. But what will happen after a time, the affiliating basically fine, then after the time, this entire cluster will be affiliated under a single university. So in start, they will be affiliated under their independent universities wherever they were originally affiliated. After that, this entire cluster will be affiliated, okay, in the under one particular university. This is something that is going to happen. Now apart from that, also the UGC has provided some other alternatives also. For example, guys, it has been provided that if such a cluster approach is not desirable, then a single stream institution, for example, institution providing only education of commerce, only providing education of legal education or such. So single stream institutions, they can merge with other multidisciplinary institutions. Okay, so let's say other multidisciplinary institution is already there. Okay, for example, many universities you have. Okay, so they can merge with them, or what can happen, the single stream colleges, they can expand the number of departments or in the college, or the number of subjects they are teaching. They can add new subjects, for example, language, literature, music, Indology, sports, okay, engineering, legal education, etc. So the single stream, they can expand their functions and they can become multidisciplinary institution, or a single stream institution can be merged with the other multidisciplinary institution. By this particular thing, this particular approach will be implemented. So guys, that is all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood, or and this is clear. This is going to be directly an implementation of the new education policy or national education policy. Both name you can use, new education policy or national education policy 2020. And the NEP 2020 happens to be the most important topic in GS paper number 2, education. Fine, already I had provided you here. That is all about. Now there is one question, different courses should be provided or different universities will be grouped to one. Hardik, please write your doubt again. Actually, I am not very clear what you are asking. However, understand this particular thing, different colleges, okay, or different universities which are teaching one subject, they will be grouped together, they will be clustered together. Okay, that is all about it. Now moving to the next article, slow improvement. Now this particular article, it is talking about GS paper number 3, issues of Indian economy or the state of Indian economy. Now guys, first of all understand that when we talk about the state of Indian economy, you don't need to go too much deep into the data that okay, how much 1,000 crore rupees were generated by one particular sector, how much growth was there last month, what growth is there in this month. So every month's growth and all these things are not very much important. You need to understand that the broad movements going on in Indian economy, because this is the only thing that is asked into the UPSC examination. Fine. Now basically, first of all, what has happened in the past, NSO, that is the National Statistical Office under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, has forecasted the India's growth. It has said that India is growing at the rate of 13.5%. Fine, this is something. Then recently the Reserve Bank of India has projected the India's growth that India is going to grow at 16.2%. So anyhow guys, we see this particular thing that India is entering in the phase of double digit growth. Now China since 1990s has got this double digit growth for nearly 30 years, and because of this double digit growth, China has been able to scale so high. That is something that has happened. Fine. So now India is also entering into the club of the double digit growth, which is a very good thing. Moreover guys, if you remember, in the today's Hindu newspaper itself, we have seen on the page number 1 that India's GST collections have also improved. Okay, so on the page number 1 we have seen that India's GST collection has also improved. For example, 1.4 lakh crore rupees GST collection we got now. So all these particular things are showing this particular thing that India is going to grow, and double digit growth is very much important. Fine. Now moving on in this particular article. So basically guys, the issue comes that still there are certain challenges in Indian economy. What are the challenges? Number one challenge is there that guys, though the Indian economy is growing, but all the sectors are not growing equitably. There are certain sectors where there are certain issues. For example, basically, first of all, when we talk about the agriculture sector, manufacturing sector, construction sector, and the contact intensive sector. What is the contact intensive sector? Hospitality sector, hotel sector. Okay, the sector which for example the sector of spa, massage, all these things, the contact intensive sector. So hospitality sector, within the hospitality, hotel, tourism. Okay, fine, all these things will be coming. So these sectors, that is again agriculture, manufacturing, construction sector, and the contact intensive sector, fine, as well as the transport sector, there the growth has not been very much high. Actually the contraction has happened. What's the meaning of contraction? Contraction means that, for example, last year A sector was growing at 100, let's say A sector was growing, let's say, at 100. Now let's say in the next quarter, the growth is just 80. So from 100 to 80, what has happened? There is a contraction of 20 points. Okay, so whatever the growth was last year, if it goes below that, we call it as a contraction. So in all these sectors there have been the contractions in the present quarter. So contraction of around 13.3% is there in agriculture. Then in construction sector there is a contraction of 10.5%. then in the contact intensive sector 22.3% contraction is there. Then in the transport transport service, there is 24.6% contraction. So basically these sectors employ large number of people, and as they employ large number of people, there is so much of contraction that is coming, and this particular thing might create an economic drag. Now what is the meaning of economic drag? Economic drag is any phenomena which impact the growth of that particular of entire economy. So this economic drag by the non-growth and the contraction of this particular sector is something which India needs to be very much considerate about. Then the next issue that comes here is that, guys, this particular year the monsoons drains have been very erratic. There are certain regions where the flooding has come, but at the same time the regions which are growing the paddy, or the regions which needed a lot of rainfall, there the rainfall patches have not come. So basically the paddy areas and the pulses growing areas into the north and the eastern parts, they are moisture deficient. They have not received the sufficient rain, and this particular thing might be impacting the agricultural growth. And the next year so it is going to impact the agricultural growth, okay, and the food output of India will also be impacted. So this is something that is happening. Then apart from these domestic factors, there are the global factors that are also there. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that first of all, there is the sign of global recession. Now first of all, the economies in the US, the European economy, they are not doing very much good. If there will be global recession, what will happen? India's exports will be getting impacted. Understand this particular thing. Today the economies have been coupled together. Basically we see this particular thing. It is said that if USA sneezes, the world catches the cold next day. Again I'll repeat, if USA sneezes, the world catches the cold every day, and the next day, what it means? It means that we are in a hyper connected world, and in this hyper connected world, if there is a recession in one part of the world, it is going to impact the another country. In that capacity, there is a global recession. How it is going to impact India? Basically guys, when we talk about India is trying to leverage on its export potential, and the export potential of a country depends on the growth in the other countries, and if in other countries there is no growth, India's export might be getting impacted. So this is a very big problem. The demand in the external demand will be impacted, and it will impact India's export. Then the next problem that comes here is the Ukraine war. Because of this Ukraine war, guys, many of the trade routes have been suspended. The world has become more polarized, and in that particular capacity, the countries are imposing sanctions on each other. That is not good from the trade point of view, from the economic point of view. Moreover, guys, when we talk about the Ukraine war, fine, the countries have been aligned towards Ukraine, and then there are countries who are aligned towards Russia. Both are equally important for us. India has to make some tough choices, and these tough choices might be having an impact onto the Indian economy also. So these are some of the challenges that Indian economy is facing right now. Okay, so guys, this is all about this particular article, and please, you should not be concerned only about the content of the article. Rather, you need to connect this particular thing in a broader picture, in a broader landscape. You need to see all these things. So that is all about it, and now we'll move to the next article. Academia, research and the glass ceiling in India. Okay, so this particular article is going to be very important with respect to the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, issues related to the education, and particularly the women education. Women education, this particular article is going to be important. Now, before going in this particular article, guys, what does this particular word means? That is the glass ceiling. Glass ceiling. What is the meaning of this word? So basically, glass ceiling means an invisible barrier which restricts the movement of the women above a particular level. That is invisible barrier. That is glass ceiling. Now guys, the glass ceiling exists even in one of the most premier institution of India. I'll give you just example, not mentioned in this particular article, but to explain this particular thing. When we talk about the participation of women into the lower judiciary, the women's participation is around 30%. But in the High Court, how many women judges we have? Only 11.5%. In Supreme Court, around 12% judges are the women. So can you see that till in the lower judiciary there are high number of women, but many number of women are not there in the higher judiciary. What it is? It is nothing but a kind of a glass ceiling that exists even in the very premier institution, and such glass ceilings exist everywhere in corporate world, in education, in research, in governance. Everywhere this glass ceiling is there, where women are not, they don't have opportunities to go beyond a particular level. That is the glass ceiling effect. Very important phenomena in the society, social sociology. Moving on. Fine. Indian Society paper number 1. Indian Society paper number 1. Now, what this particular article is talking about, this article provides this particular thing that in India, if we want to bring true gender parity means gender equality. Okay, just a minute. Fine. So if we talk about that, if we want to bring the gender parity in country, basically we need to bring the gender parity in the education sector, particularly the higher education, the STEM education. We need to bring the gender parity. Okay. Now, gender parity. First of all, in the education, the higher institutions, they are just focusing that the women are asset. Okay, and why the women are asset? Just to bring the diversity. Women are not being brought because the women has the capability which is on par with the men, but the institutions are bringing more women just to bring more diversity. This is something which should not be there. Now, certain examples have been given in this particular article, guys. For example, in 1933, the Kamala Soni approached the Sir C.V. Raman, the Nobel Prize winner. She wanted to become a physics researcher under the guidance of Sir C.V. Raman. But at that point of a time in 1933, she was turned back. It was not allowed her to become a researcher because she was a woman. So this was a discrimination which happened against the women in the science. Then the second example that has been given in 1937, Biba Chaudhary. Okay, fine. Biba Chaudhary was not allowed to become a researcher in the Calcutta University. The university was very much reluctant. Why? Because it was said that there was no project to assign to the women. That is something happened. And then, guys, the most recent in 2018, one of a professor of the Pisa University, one of a very prominent theoretical physicist, fine, and he had worked at the CERN also, fine. He had worked at the basically Hadron Collider project. He had worked in the European Organization for Nuclear Research. He provided this particular thing that the physics was invented and built by men, and it is not by the invitation. Okay, and it is not by the invitation. It means that simply we cannot bring everybody into the physics. Physics needs to be the realm of men. So in all these three examples, we see that how the women have been discriminated in the arena of science. So basically, there is a biasness against the women, and this biasness has become a kind of a glass ceiling, and this glass ceiling is preventing the women. However, over the years, things are changing. And now it seems that the glass ceiling is being broken down because there is more and more enrollment of the women in the higher education into the science. But guys, still there is a lot more needs to be done. So it appears that the glass ceiling has been broken, but still more has to be done. Let's see first of all what has been done by the Indian government in order to remove this particular glass ceiling and what opportunities we are providing to the women in India. So basically, first of all, there are the two very good initiatives that are going on, which are being operated by the government. Number one is the Gati initiative. Now the Gati initiative, it is a pilot project under the Department of Science and Technology to promote the gender equity in science. So more women in the science, more women in the research, more women into the research and development, R&D are being brought. So Gati initiative of Department of Science and Technology. And then there is one more initiative, that is the Kiran initiative. Kiran stands for Knowledge, Innovation and Research Advancement through Nurturing. So the Kiran initiative is also of the Department of Science. Same, both Gati and Kiran are of Department and Science, and under the both, women are being promoted into the science. Science equity is being promoted. So these are the two initiatives that are going on. But guys, still there is a gender bias in the STEM. Now what does the STEM means? The STEM means the science, technology, engineering and mathematics. So in the science, engineering, technology and mathematics, still the women enrollment is very much less. Now we have some data here in this particular direction, and this data you need to use in your answers. Now when we talk about guys, in India, fine, India, according to the UNESCO data, whose data? UNESCO data. India is at the lower position, having only 14% of female researchers in the STEM. So into the science, technology, engineering and mathematics, only 14% female researchers are there, which is one of very poor. At the same time, other countries are also not doing very much good. For example, in Japan, 16% researchers are there in STEM. In Netherlands, 26% researchers. In US, 27%. And UK, 39% women researchers are there in STEM. Nowhere 50% gender parity has been reached. This is not a very good thing. Now guys, when we talk about in India, there is one good thing with respect to India is that about 43% of women constitute the graduate population in STEM. So in the graduate, for example, many women are doing the Many women are doing the BSc in physics, BSc in physics, BSc in chemistry. Many of the women are becoming the engineers. Okay, many of the women are doing BSc, MSc in mathematics. So in graduates, we have 43% of women graduates in the STEM, which is good. But at the same time, guys, when we talk about the women in the academic institutions, okay, women into the research and development, that number is very much less. In research, only 14% women we have. That is something that is there. Okay, that is something that is the problem. Moreover, guys, when we talk about the participation of women in research, it has dropped even significantly in the past few years. Then moving on, basically, guys, next it has been provided that according to the published research that was published, at most STEM institutions, women occupy only 20% of all the professional positions. Just a minute. So in the STEM institutions, professional positions, women are holding just 20% of the professional positions. 80% of the position in the science, technology, engineering and mathematics, professional positions are being held by the men. So here example has been given. For example, in IIT Madras, only 31 women professors are there out of the 314 professors. So in the professional, very less number of women. Next, guys, it has been provided that at the same time, in the private sector, in the corporate sector, the performance of women or the number of women is very much good, particularly in India. For example, in the corporate sector, 39% of the leaders in the corporate sector in India are the women, which is higher than the global average. Now, the global average is very much less. For example, in the Fortune 500 companies, now Fortune 500 companies are the world's top 500 companies. In the Fortune 500, only 15% female board members are there. So in the developed countries and to Western countries, the representation of women is less, but in India is actually more. Now the question comes that why in the private sector the representation of women is more? It's because the private sector is particularly focused on merit and competence, okay, and in that capacity the women, they perform good. Moreover, guys, into the past, many other notable developments has also come. For example, flexi hour work time, okay, fine. Then rejoining the workforce after a break, for example the pregnancy break, all such kind of things. Work from home has come. Moreover, guys, government is also trying to empower the women in workforce, fine. So government wants to increase the proportion of women in workforce by 2047. If I tell you the present data, according to the periodic labor force survey, there is 25.1% female labor force participation rate in India. 25.1% female labor force participation rate. We want to increase to at least 60%, and for that particular thing, government has also taken many initiatives where the women are being encouraged. Fine. So these are, guys, all the developments that had come in this particular direction. So that is all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now the article talks about that, can civil servants express their views on the law and governance? Now this particular article, guys, will see with respect to GS paper number 2, role of civil servants in democracy, and in GS paper number 4, administrative ethics. GS paper number 4, administrative ethics, will see this particular article. Okay, now basically, first of all, I'll tell you guys recently why this article has come in the news. So recently what happened, one of an IAS officer questioned the Gujarat government's decision to release the convicts in the Bilkis Bano case. So you might be hearing a lot about the Bilkis Bano case, in which the Bilkis Bano was raped. Then these people, they have these 11 men, they had committed murder, okay, including the murder of a young child also. Now this IAS officer had said that the IAS officer doesn't agrees with this particular decision. So a debate has opened that can the IAS officers or the All India service officers or any other central service officer, they can criticize the government openly on the public platform? Do they have such authority or not? This question has come, and this question we are going to see under different dimensions in this particular article. So a very good and a very important article for our examination. Now, guys, first of all, understand this particular thing, that when you talk about the IAS, IPS or other central services, there are the conduct rules, and under conduct rules they have to perform. First of all, guys, for the central service officers, we have the Central Service Civil Service Conduct Rule 1968. Then for the All India Service Officer, we have the Conduct Rules 1968. So we have the conduct rules 1964 and we have the conduct rules 1968. 1968 are for all India service officers. Conduct rule 1964 are for the central service officers. And in these conduct rules, it has been provided that they cannot criticize the government. But at the same time, guys, there is the article number 19, which talks about the fundamental right of free speech. And fundamental right of free speech has been given under the Constitution of India. Now a question comes that they have the right to express their views because there is the article number 19 of the Indian Constitution. But at the same time, the conduct rules has prevented them that they cannot go out and they can criticize the government. In this particular capacity, this is the issue. But guys, the question that's coming now is that basically this rule is of a British era, and the Britishers were very much threatened. If the civil servants will go out, they might expose certain ugly things about the British government, and it might incite the dissatisfaction against the British government at that point of a time. So therefore, guys, many of these rules were framed, and actually what happened, these rules have been carried forward in independent India also. Actually, in the 1964 Santhanam committee has recommended these conduct rules, 1964 conduct rules, and the Santhanam committee had actually first of all taken the reference from the compendium of instructions. That compendium of instruction was given during the British times. So many of these rules have been inspired from the British era. So therefore, this is something that they should not be deterred, rather they should be allowed to express their viewpoints. Moreover, guys, in this particular capacity, we have certain judgments by the Supreme Court also. For example, the Lipika Paul versus State of Tripura judgment. In this Lipika Paul judgment, Tripura, basically the High Court provided that as a government servant, the petitioner is not devoid of her right to free speech. So doesn't mean that you have just become a government servant. Still, the right to free speech is there, and that cannot be removed. Then in 2018, in a separate judgment, the Kerala High Court also provided that one cannot be prevented from expressing his views because he is an employee. So everybody at the end of the day happens to be a private citizen also, and in that capacity they can express their views. So therefore the civil servant should not be restricted. But at the same time, guys, what the law says, there is rule number 9 of the rules of the Central Civil Service Conduct Rules 1964. These rules provide that no government civil servant shall make any statement or any fact which has an adverse effect or which creates an adverse criticism of the government policy action of the central government, state government. This is something. Now, is it the violation of article number 19? Now, guys, first of all, understand this particular thing. Under article number 19, reasonable restrictions have been provided, and many a time these curbs have been justified that they are nothing but a reasonable restriction. Moreover, when we talk about these conduct rules, these rules, they do not violate article number 19 because it is not a law. Already it has been provided. Now, guys, if you read the article number 13 of the Indian Constitution, in the article number 13, it has been provided that no law should contravene, no law should violate the fundamental right. So the law has been provided. These are not the law, these are the rules. So rules can violate. There is no problem, that is justified. Moreover, guys, it has been provided that these rules are to bring a discipline in the organization, and the discipline is very much important for organization to function. So basically these rules have been brought to bring discipline, so therefore these rules should be followed and the civil servant should not be going against the government. Moreover, reasonable restrictions are also there. You need to keep it in your mind. Now, guys, understand this particular thing, but at the same time, we find this particular thing that these rules are being applied selectively. How? Basically, when government officers are going and appreciating the government, when they are encouraging the government, then nobody comes and they say that, okay, why you are talking for the government? When you appreciate government, no problem, but when you basically criticize the government, then there is a problem. So it has been said that the right of expression has been given, but it has been given in a selective capacity. So these are all the issues that have come in this particular direction. So that is all, guys. I hope that you have understood. Now we'll move to the next article. The big picture takeaway from China's Taiwan drill. Now understand this particular thing, guys. This particular article you just need to see just for a general understanding. You don't need to go too much in the deep in this particular article. The reason being that it is just talking too much onto the technical capabilities of the Chinese military. Now these technical capabilities of a military of one particular nation, first of all, you'll not be able to recall these technical details in the exam, and secondly, these technical details are not even asked in the examination. So just we need to see the overview and all the line by line reading is not required. Now, first of all, let's discuss what has happened. Basically, guys, recently we have seen that this is first of all China, this is Taiwan. So basically what has happened, the USA's House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan, and when she visited Taiwan, that particular thing was criticized by the China. Why? Because China, as per their one China principle, says that Taiwan is not an independent country. Taiwan is a part of a mainland China only. And if anybody will maintain the diplomatic relation with the Taiwan, independent diplomatic relation with the Taiwan, then it will be the violation of the one China principle of China. The China will not be maintaining, the China will not be seeing that particular thing positively. And now when the USA speaker came to Taiwan, Taiwan had seen this particular thing as a violation of the China's sovereign interest. And what happened after that particular thing? After this particular development, what happened? China had carried the targeted military attacks into this particular Taiwan strait, this water body. They have also interfered into the air defense zone of the Taiwan. All these things have happened. Now, this particular article is providing that we learn about Chinese capabilities by this particular episode. 3 points have been provided here. Number one, the China's air assault capabilities have been very much good. In the China's air assault capabilities, they have the rotary and the fixed wing aircrafts. They have the rotary aircrafts and the fixed wing aircrafts, which had carried the invasion into the Taiwan's airspace. And this is something which the world countries need to take stock of. Second is the area of the missile capabilities. Now, guys, over the years, the China has increased the air of their missile capabilities. Their missile strike capabilities has increased. Even they have developed the hypersonic missiles. They have developed the intercontinental ballistic missiles. This is something. Then the third is the PLAs, basically, just a minute. Okay, PLA's Joint Logistic Support Force. PLA's Joint Logistic Support Force. So basically, People's Liberation Army and their Joint Logistic Support Force. Okay, it has developed specific capabilities and too much of technicalities, and they can give competition even to the mightiest of the mightiest armies, forces. So these are something. Now basically it has been said that when the basically China had carried the attacks into the Taiwan's waters and had breached the air defense zone of the Taiwan, it was not just a military exercise, but it was an attempt to showcase the Chinese capabilities, and these Chinese capabilities needed to be taken care of by the US as well as by the developed world. So this is all which has been provided in this particular article. Beyond this, nothing is there which is important for your UPSC examination. Now we'll move to the next article. Vostok 2022 begins in Russia with India-China participating. So guys, this article talks about the Vostok 2022 military exercise that is going on in Russia. Now, why this Vostok 2022 has come in news? Because guys, here India, China, Russia all are participating. Along with them, there are other countries are also, and the USA has criticized India. Because USA simply thinks that India is a partner in the quadrilateral security dialogue. The quadrilateral security dialogue has only been brought to counter China, but India here is participating with China. Second, Russia and China both are supposed to be the biggest enemies right now of the USA, and as under the Vostok 2022, India is participating with both the China and the Russia. USA thinks that it is going against their interest. Now basically guys, we'll see that where this Vostok exercise is being held. This Vostok exercise is being held in Russia, and in this particular exercise there will be the joint maneuvers, field training exercises, combat discussions, firepower exercises, joint maneuvers. Both all the armies who are participating, how jointly they can go and they can carry forward the combat operations. Discussions will be taken up. Firepower exercise where the technicalities and capabilities will be shared. All these things will happen. Now, who are the participating countries into the Vostok 2022? So basically, the countries of the CSTO, that is the Collective Security Treaty Organization, these countries will be coming. After that, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization members will be participating. Then the countries such as the Algeria, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, India, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, China, Laos, Mongolia, Nicaragua. Fine. Now the countries as far as Nicaragua, Syria, Tajikistan, all of them are going to participate in this Vostok 2022. Fine. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that you need to be mindful that India is participating here, China is participating here, Russia is participating here. Every country do you need to go and cram? No, not very much important that you need to go and cram the entire list of the countries. Is it clear or not? Now moving to the next article. UN accuses China of the Uyghur right abuses. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, international issues. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that this Uyghur issue comes many times into the news. Basically the China in their Xinjiang province. Now in the Xinjiang province of the China, there are the Uyghur Muslims that live. Now these Uyghur Muslims, many a times they have provided this particular thing, that they want to secede from the China, and over the years, because of the differences of the race, difference of ethnicity, difference of religion, China had carried a lot of atrocities on the Uyghur Muslims living in the Xinjiang region, and again the United Nations Human Rights Council provides this particular thing, that the China is going for the human right violation. Even the human right groups, independent human right groups, they have accused China that more than million people, particularly belonging from the minority community such as the Uyghurs, they have been put forcefully into the detention camps. They are being tortured there, they are being sexually assaulted there, they are being forced to abandon even their language and even their culture. So this is one of a photograph of the detention center into the Xinjiang region of China. So it has been provided that thousands of people are being put there, and a lot of human right violation is going on. In this particular capacity guys, recently the United Nations Human Rights Council has also accused China of the human right violations, and they have said that this is the crime against humanity that is being taken by the China. Now what has happened? China has denounced this particular report and had said that it is a fabrication cooked by the Western nations. China says that we are not doing any such kind of a thing, and deliberately the Western nations are bringing up this particular entire campaign. Okay, this is something that is happening. So China has basically condemned it, and the UN had said that they are doing some violations. So guys, this is another one important issue. Now this is not new, this is going on for so many of the years. Every time UN comes out with a report, China denounces that. This is something that is happening, but now the world countries need to come together and condemn, and they need to condemn this particular act collectively. Fine. So that is all guys about this particular article. So this is all about the issues in the today's newspaper. Guys, I hope that you have understood all these particular articles. Now, the articles which are very much important, I deliberately take a lot of background in that and a lot of information which is not even provided. However, some articles you need to just understand that you need to see the headings, or just you need to see a very specific part. So the selective study and identification of the selective study is a most important attribute of a civil service aspirant. I hope you are learning such attributes. So guys, that is all for today. Now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then guys, please take care of yourselves, and if you have liked the video, please do hit the like button, please do subscribe to channel, and please do leave your lovely comments. I personally read every of your comment and try to respond to them also. Fine. So that is all for today. Now we'll meet tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.